Eyes out, Guardian.
If you're getting started in Destiny for the first time, or perhaps returning to the series after a long hiatus, we have you covered with everything you need to know, from which class to choose, the best ways to level up, how to deal extra damage to enemies, and most importantly, how to get the best loot for your Guardian.
You are a Guardian. This is your destiny.
First things first, you need to pick a class: Titan, Hunter, or Warlock. Titans are able to protect their allies or crush their enemies in equal measure. Traditionally, you might think of them as tanks from other games, but they're so much more than that. While they are able to protect their allies and they often have more health than the other classes, Titans are also able to hold their own when it comes to dishing out the damage. Hunters are reminiscent of rogues or rangers from other games. They're generally considered to be the most mobile of the classes, and they wear cool capes. Their main focus is to boost their own power as well as that of their allies, by providing things like added damage or faster reload speeds. Warlocks are basically space wizards, and they're the closest thing you'll find to a mage. They generally recover health a bit more quickly than the other classes, meaning less time spent hiding behind cover, and they can also support their fellow guardians with buffs. Their abilities often hit a wide area with either massive impacts or chained effects that jump between targets. Each class also has 3 subclasses that allow you to customize further into your chosen playstyle. They will affect your options for grenades, jump styles and super abilities, as well as various perks that add another layer of customization to that particular subclass. You'll start with a set one of these subclasses and then unlock the others as you play. Also keep in mind that there are 3 character slots, so you can always make one of each class, or if you really love those hunter capes, you can just make 3 of them.
Hey you two, give me a sec.
Before we jump into all the different things that you can do in Destiny 2, let's go over some of the basics and things that you might not know. First of all, there are many different ways to deal additional damage to enemies. If you've ever played a first-person shooter, you'll know that headshots deal more damage, but that isn't the case for every enemy in Destiny 2. Certain foes, like the Vex for example, actually have their weak spot located in their stomachs.
Ugh. What is this stuff?
It's called radiolaria. You know, Vex mind fluid.
Other units might have weak areas on their legs, or require you to break off armour to deal additional damage. The general rule is if you're not seeing yellow damage numbers, you're not hitting the weak spot. Another way to deal additional damage is to hit enemies with the correct elemental weapons and skills. There are 3 elements in Destiny 2, Void, Arc and Solar. You'll notice that your subclass will actually be tied to one of these elements, so for example Sentinel Titans are Void and Gunslinger Hunters are Solar. Your grenades, special melee attacks and supers will all deal damage based on this element. You will also have an element attached to your energy and heavy weapons. It's important to understand the different elements, as some enemies will have elemental shields. If you shoot them with normal kinetic weapons, your damage will be quite low, but hit them with the matching elemental damage and it will be way more effective. You'll also find energy weapons deal more damage to enemies using supers in the Crucible. Here there is no need to match the element, any energy weapon will hit harder against a Guardian using their super than a normal kinetic gun.
Alright Guardian, time to kick 'em where it hurts!
Destiny 2 has 2 types of level that you need to know about. The first is normal experience-based leveling that you'll be used to from most games. You perform activities such as the main story and are rewarded with experience. Collect enough and you level up, but this will only take you so far. Once at level 20 it will stop, and now you will only gain more levels through the gear you have equipped, known as power levels. Your power level will increase as you acquire and equip better gear. You'll notice this number will slowly go up as you play, as the game always rewards you with gear slightly better than what you have. The score is based on an average of all your equipment's attack and defense stats. It will continue to climb quite easily until power level 260. This is about as far as normal gameplay will take you. At this point you will need to complete weekly milestones to progress further. Milestones are basically objectives, like participating in a certain number of Crucible games or completing specific challenges. It's advised to avoid doing any milestones until you get to around 260 if you want to level as fast as possible. Because the drops are based off your power level, the higher you are when you complete them, the higher the level the loot will be. But how are you going to get to 260 in the first place? The first experience-based levels can be completed however you wish. Play the main story, run around completing objectives, whatever takes your fancy. Then at level 20 you can start to focus on your power level. To do this you're going to need legendary gear, and you can get this by building reputation with vendors. You can do this in a number of ways, including bringing them tokens and materials which you can find scattered on Destiny's various planets. This is all done in patrols along with other players, where you can complete things like public events, randomly generated activities involving things like defending or attacking objectives. This will reward you with loot and tokens to exchange for reputation. Public events come in two forms, normal and heroic, with the heroic version needing to be triggered in a specific way and being much tougher, but offering better loot. Something else to keep in mind is that each week a flashpoint event will occur on one particular planet. This is one of the milestones that will award high level loot. Once on the planet, you'll find things like treasure maps, events and special enemies. Completing the flashpoint provides very high level loot. If you're a solo player, this is something you're probably going to want to do every single week, as the nature of the event will bring players together. There are also lost sectors. These are hidden caves that contain various enemies and a boss at the end. Defeat the boss and unlock a chest of rare loot. The lost sectors can be hard to find, but NPCs may direct you in the right location, and you can also look out for this marking indicating a cave is nearby. You'll just have to find it. Lastly, there are adventures. These are extensions of the main story that are relatively quick to complete, as well as world quests, which expand on the story of the specific planet you're on. Another aspect of Destiny 2's PvE experience are strikes. Strikes are 3-player missions, which you can either enter solo and be match made with allies or bring your friends along. These missions take you on a journey through an environment which is a little bit more challenging than most of the other areas of the game. If you successfully clear the strike, you'll get rewarded with loot, but if you want to get even better items, you're going to need to try out the Nightfall Strike. Nightfall Strikes are much tougher versions of normal strikes that reset each week. They have special modifiers like enemies having more shields or guardians taking more damage when in the air. They also have a time limit, so you're going to need to work as a team if you want any hope of victory. However, if you do succeed, some of the best loot in the game is up for grabs. The next step on from Nightfall Strikes are raids. These are specially created instances designed to be some of the toughest content in the game. They require a 6-player team to enter, but if you don't have 5 friends to bring along with you, don't despair. Destiny 2 has a new system called Guided Games, which can help you out. Essentially, they will allow you to find a group of players to team up with. That group will be comprised of various members of a clan who all know each other and work together well, but are in need of an extra player. You can join up and go into the raid of a team who can all work together. Raids contain unique gear you can't get anywhere else, as well as various other pieces of outstanding loot. There is one other major element of Destiny 2, and that's the Crucible, its player versus player section of the game. In PvP, you'll work with 3 other players to either control objectives or slaughter the opposition. You can bring your gear from your adventures in the rest of the game into the Crucible, but levels are balanced out, meaning you won't be one-shotting everyone you run into. However, things like weapon and armor perks will still apply. Here you're going to need to work together with your teammates, try to stick close to them and shoot the same targets for best results. There are various modes in the Crucible. Quick play is more casual, with modes like Control, Clash and Supremacy, while competitive contains modes like Countdown that are more heavily objective focused and will require much greater degrees of teamwork. So hopefully you now feel a bit more prepared to take on everything Destiny 2 has to throw at you, but if you have any tips to share with new players, leave them in the comments below and help out your fellow Guardians. As always, this is James for Curse saying thanks for watching and enjoy the game.